Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Mid-Atlantic Mauling League's Dungeon Bowl. We're in week number 5, and boy, do we have a bashy one tonight. Tonight, it's going to be the Bone Breakers versus our grudges with Nuffle, Galeshi versus Eric, Black Orcs versus Dwarves. Oh my. It's gonna be a lot of fighting tonight. Let's take a look at the standings before we take a look at these two teams. Oh, is today the Happy Space Marine 2 Day? How? That's... I'm going to be playing that right after tonight's game. In Division A, currently in first place is League Champion Doug the Minotaur with his White Skull Windbreakers. They're an Orc team. They're 2-2-0, and they are followed very closely behind by Runbad's Deadly Biscuits with their win this week. That's a Black Orc team. 2-2-0 is their record as well in second place. Over in Division B, JD Whitey's Forest of Flames, a Wood Elf team. They are 4-0-0 in this competition. Spire's Rodentia, a Skaven team, two Agile teams at the top of the rankings here in Division B. They are 2-2-1 in second place. And in Division C, Nick Satan's Cenozoic Park, they are 3-0-0 at the top of the leaderboard, followed by Tizzlebizzle's Tizorc Savage Boys. They're an Orc team. They're 1-4-0 in this competition. Tizzle Bizzle Bad Dog. I don't have an anvil. Welcome to the stream. I don't have an anvil, so I just gotta wait for payday. Yeah, that's frustrating. All right, here's the home team for this evening. It's gonna be Galeshi's Bone Breakers. They're coming in a TV of 1,210,000 gold. 12 players on the roster, all 6 Black Orcs. The big guy, the Trained Troll, and 5 Goblins. Speaking of Goblins, we're getting Halflings and Gobbos in Blood Bowl 3, I think next week, right? That's gonna be exciting. Bring me my stunties. I'm very excited for that. 1 Apothecary, 2 Dedicated Fans, 3 rerolls on this roster. They're gonna be up against Dwarves tonight. Eric's, our grudge, is with Nuffle. They are 11-player roster coming in a TV of 1,055,000 gold. That's 155,000 gold in petty cash. Going to our grudges with Nuffle this evening. They have their runner, they have 2 Troll Slayers, and a whole bunch of linemen. 1 Oppo, 2 Dedicated Fans, and 3 rerolls. How the two teams are going to play? Let's take a look at the Dwarven team first. Look at that roster. How do you think Dwarves play? Very slow, very tough, and they come with block. I mean, everyone's got block on this roster. And that means that this team wants to stay grouped up. They want to get those assists so they can get those 2-die blocks with the block skill off. That's absolutely the game plan for Eric tonight. I think that's going to inform how he spends his petty cash as well. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. Oh, Gamer Mike, thank you very much for the bits. He does have the 2 Troll Slayers. The Troll Slayers are very good for opening up holes. The Troll Slayers are very good for pulling players out of position. Not going to be up against a particularly fast team tonight. Also, another, what happened to my mouse? There we go. Wow, that was scary. Bad Dog demanding death. Morgan Jambo LaFay, unusual roster. Yeah, I think it's fine personally. It is a low TV roster. He does have just the 1 runner, no death roller. But yeah, he can use those frenzied Troll Slayers to pull players out of position. That means the sidelines are almost certainly going to be off limits for this Black Orc team. Block is really the key strength in this particular matchup. Block across the board. They're going to be up against the Black Orcs. The Black Orcs have more strength and they have more guard. You can see guard all over the place here for the Bone Breakers. They have guard on 4 of the 6 Black Orcs. They all have a strength of 4. That's going to be very, very helpful. No block, but the Black Orcs do have Brawler. Brawler, the poor man's block. So that can be helpful in this matchup. They do have the fastest players here. Well, I guess there's the runner, but they have more MA6 players here with the Goblins, but the Goblins are very frail. They're very weak as well. Bruisem Rangy, the fouler, you can bet that Galeshi is going to be using Bruisem Rangy to try to foul each and every turn. He needs to do that in order to try to get the player advantage, because he's going to be up against a team, even though he has the strength advantage, he's up against a team that has more block, and I really think that's gonna work in in Eric's favor in this matchup. They're just going to get more consistent dice off against the Bone Breakers, and the Bone Breakers are going to get off against the Dwarves. And so Galeshi needs to play around that. He can do that in a couple of ways. He does have a lot of guard, and of course, the Black Orcs all have grab. Grab is the inverse of sidestep, so he can start pulling players out of position with grab, and that can be very effective against a Dwarven team that's very slow and wants to stay grouped up, especially with a Dwarven team that doesn't have guard. Once you pull a Dwarf off the line, pull them out of position, grab them, and drop them down on the side, now suddenly they're marked and they're not lending an assist. That can be very strong, and I think Galeshi is going to need to lean into that in order to come out on top tonight. He does have those goblins as well. He needs to not be afraid of using those goblins to come in for the assist, to come in and foul. He wants to foul, I would argue, as much as possible. Ruzum Rangi needs to get in there, needs to put the hurt on, try to get that player advantage as soon as possible in order to start stacking the odds in his favor. 155k, however, will be going back to this Dwarven team. How are they going to spend that? Well, he could certainly, Eric can certainly spend that on a wizard. A wizard's never a bad pick. I think in this particular matchup, though, we might see Eric go for a merc. If you're unfamiliar with mercenaries, they're kind of like journeymen that you choose to pick up. so a mercenary costs 30k more than the level 1 positional for your team. So for example, a Dwarven lineman is 70k normally. It would be 100k to pick up a mercenary lineman. Mercs all come with the loner skill just like a journeyman does, but the important thing is you can also spend 50k more to pick up a primary skill. Dwarves, again, remember, they want to stay grouped up. They want to get those 2-die blocks off, and that usually means one of the first skills that they pick up is guard. This can be a way that Eric can pick up a guard player. A guard lineman will cost him 150k. He has 155. He can certainly pick one up. Now he's got a guard player and tries to make his blocks that much more safe. That could be an option for him. I don't think there's any star players that are cheap enough and worth it enough for Eric to pick up otherwise. And I don't think he's going to go in for the bribe either, although he may. But with just 11 players on the roster and without a fouler, I don't think a bribe's probably the way to go either. So it's either going to be a wizard or it's going to be a merc, in my opinion. We'll see what he ends up picking up here in just a minute. Going to be a real bashy game. It's going to come down to really key tactics, right? The Black Orcs with the grab skill and the Dwarves trying to stay grouped up as a single unit and marching down the pitch that way. If the other coach can break up that tactic for the opposing team, they're going to have a strong advantage. We'll see if either can do it here. If Galeshi can start to pick these Dwarves apart and spread them across the pitch, if the Dwarves can go in against these Black Orcs and get those solid die rolls off and get a lead that way, then I think that will dictate the rest of the momentum for the rest of the game. But without further ado, I'm going to head over to Discord. I'm going to see if the two coaches are ready to go, and we will get this Week 5 game underway. Looks like our coaches are ready to go. Looks like the voting on odds. I have toyed with setting up like an odds bot or something, but I don't know. It feels a little weird. But it looks like Morgan Jamble LaFay thinks 50-50 odds that it's gonna be a draw. Old Gamer Mike says Kegs. I don't think Kegs will be picked up in this matchup. Maybe the Black Orc team might have if they had the additions, but I mean, dwarves aren't really going to be KO'd. Nurglesrot praying to Nuffle. Yeah, dwarves are very, very resilient. High AV, plus they have thick skull. All right, looks like we're going to have clear skies for this matchup this evening. Week 5, 7 weeks of regulation in the competition. After that, the top teams of each of the 3 divisions, plus the best runner-up between the 3 divisions will advance to the top 4. The runners-up of the Dungeon Bowl will also earn a spot in our championship competition, the Blood Bowl. That is an invitational. Champion advances in the upper bracket. The runner-up will advance in the lower bracket. Somebody's got to do something about those rocks. That is just plain dangerous. As is the ring in the middle of the pitch, to be perfectly honest. 5 fan factor for our grudges with Nuffle. 4 for the Bone Breakers. Not a bad chunk of change in this game. 155k for Eric. Will he pick up a wizard? Will he pick up a merc? Will he pick up something else? Spire says, I'm rooting for the fans. Let's serve some dwarves. Gonna pick up the extra reroll with the extra team training. All right. So going up to 4 rerolls. Feels the roster is strong enough. The Black Orcs win the coin toss. Black Orcs didn't win the coin toss. The Dwarves won the coin toss. And the Dwarves are going to choose to kick this ball. They're setting up in an anchor formation. There it is, 3 on the line. The number 6, level 1 dwarf blocker lineman right there in the middle linebacker position. Vinny Johnson, otherwise known as Iron Grudge. 3 on the line for the Bone Breakers now. They have the big guy, the Troll, right there at center pitch in that center position. Morgan Jambo LaFay says, I wonder if the Troll Slayers are actually there for the Dauntless as much as Frenzy for some pseudo-strength. Fair enough, yeah. Dauntless can allow you to, you get through a die roll, your strength will match your opponent's strength, and then that means you just need the 1 player for the assist to get the 2 die block. Two players back to receive, Nosebleed and Rotgob the Toothache. Back to receive this kickoff. Neither team with a kicker. Here's the kick. Decent kick by the Dwarves. And our the brilliant coaching result, the Dwarves are going to be up to an egregious 5 rerolls. Here we go. Turn 1 now for the Bone Breakers. In the old version of the rules, prior to 2020, you could only spend 1 team reroll per turn. Now you can spend 1 team reroll per die roll, or per die pool. So you can spend multiple team rerolls in a turn. So that means more rerolls, not quite as crazy as it was in the old game. Especially if Nuffle's going to give them to you for free. Allows you to set up some real big plays if need be. First block of the game is going to be a knockdown on the left defensive end. Green stick fracture on the block. 2 die block on the right defensive end here. Gets a knockdown as well. Fails a really stupid roll with the Troll. So that Troll not only loses their tackle zones, or loses their action, but also loses their tackle zones until they get through that roll on a future turn. That is a 4+ roll unless there is a friendly player adjacent to the Troll, as there is here. Then it's a 2+. Friendly player is there to snap their fingers and remind the Troll that they've got a job to do. 2 die blitz by Bruisem Rangy. He's going to get a knockdown on the number 3 lineman. And that'll be all the blocks taken care of. Advancing the line forward, taking a lot of marks on these Dwarves. Trying to leverage the high strength to prevent the 2 die block coming back without dedicating a bunch of Dwarves in the process. And in doing so, hoping to tie up a bunch of Dwarves. But this line is getting ahead of the ball carrier here. We'll have to make sure that they don't get too far wide. Because part of the job of the offensive line is to protect the ball carrier. But now there's wide gaps here. Now, Dwarves are not fast, so there's no threat currently, but remember, those Troll Slayers are in MA. Troll Slayers are in MA5, and then the Runners in MA6. Iron Cynic asks, I was looking at halfling builds today. How many rerolls do you need if you could take a chef to steal some of the opponent's dice? I would still take 3, like on a TV 1000 or a TV 1,000,000 build. I'd still take 3, just because you need them first of all, and you want to make sure you have them, right? The benefit of the chef, sure, you get more rerolls. But really, the benefit of the chef is because the chef becomes cheap enough where now you can start to just keep them out of your opponent's hands, because your opponent's not gonna walk in there with 5 rerolls. You know what I mean? Ten seconds left on the clock for our grudge is with Nuffle taking the blocks. Almost certainly going to keep this formation together. Dwarves get weaker as they start to split apart. 1 die block on number 2 on the right side. Gets a stun out of it. Got an armor break. Wow. Well done by Bill Lambier, the gatekeeper. Our grudge is with Nuffle now on the bonus clock for a 2-die blitz in the left wide zone. So they'll get a knockdown here. So yeah, lots of dwarves dedicated to those blocks. Took those blocks, has kept the formation in check. Still hasn't moved number 10. Number 10 is going to stay in that linebacker position. Turn 2 now, back to the Bone Breakers. Spire says Chef is also iffy. Tempest got one in our game yesterday. Got 1 reroll the first half and 0 the second half. Yeah, that's why, at least in my opinion, you want to make sure you get the rerolls that you're going to need up front. That way you know you're going to get them each half. Block on the left side of the line here. Gets a knockdown. 3-die block now with the Trained Troll. Gets a pal out of this. Trained Troll with Mighty Blow. This is going to reduce this AV effectively by 1 point. Making it 9+ to break armor here. Mighty Blow gives you a +1 to your armor or your injury roll, whichever of the 2 you will need it on. So, in the case of this block here, normally the AV is 10+ to break armor. If you rolled a 9, you get to use the Mighty Blow skill to break the armor, but then you wouldn't get to use it for the injury roll. Oh, good armor break here. Got a KO. Wow, 1-man player advantage now for the Black Orc squad. But if you rolled a 10 or higher, then you could use the +1 on the injury roll. It's a very good skill. And in this version of the rules, there are players that can even have a Mighty Blow +2. Two-die blitz gets a pushback on Long John the Short. On Long John the Short. Yeah, good opportunity here to foul. Spends a reroll with Brawler, gets a push. So Brawler I talked about Brawler briefly in the pregame and called it a poor man's block. The way Brawler works is if you roll a both down result, you can re-roll that one die if you wish. Normally, you're re-rolling the entire die pool in Blood Bowl, but this is a skill that lets you re-roll one die. You can use that in a couple of ways. One, you can use it just the way it was used there, where you can use it like a weaker block. You roll bad dice, you get to re-roll one. Hopefully, you get good dice out of it. Or you can use it because you're not re-rolling the entire die pool. If you get a 2-die block, maybe you get a safe die on the one die. Maybe it's a push, but you're looking for a POW. You can keep the push. You can re-roll the both down and try to get that POW. 1 die block into a skull, but 5 re-rolls. It'll re-roll is absolutely double skulls. That's a null turn for this. Whoa, no! Null turn for the doors, and they're going to get injured for their trouble. Holy moly. Double skulls here after the reroll. And that's a turnover. Null turn for this Dwarven team. Got injured to boot. And now Boom Boom out of the game. El Numerino, Old Gamer Mike, welcome to the stream, everyone. Today block on the left side of the pitch. Gets a knockdown. 2-man player advantage currently for the Bone Breakers. Replays, of course, is 4 rerolls. Oh, he had 5. Welcome to the stream, by the way. 3 on the roster. Picked up 1 in the inducement phase, and then got 1 on the brilliant coaching result. 42 seconds left on the clock. El Numerino says, I'm watching the game via the Fire Stick Twitch app, and it puts chat on my phone, which is really nice. That is really nice. I've been toying with getting like a Fire Cube or something. I have NVIDIA Shields in the house, and I love them, but they're very long in the tooth right now. So I just kind of keep my eye out for alternatives. El Numerino says those are S-Beaver kind of numbers. Yes, they are. 2-die block in the right wide zone, gets a knockdown here. Isn't this beautiful? Isn't this beautiful? Another foul with Bruisem Rangy here. 1 assist on the foul. No armor break. Bruisem Rangy, a sneaky get. Normally when you foul, if you roll doubles at any point in the foul, you'll get called off the pitch. But with being a sneaky get, if you don't break the armor, it doesn't matter whether you roll doubles or not, you will not get called off. Galeshi doing a good job there on that turn, I think. Really focusing on those fouls, I think that's the right call. Currently has the player advantage, wants to try to increase that advantage going into the second drive of the game. Even drew on the screen, injury going. There is a pattern, isn't there? 2-die block on the left side here. Gets a foul against Gobnob, Greenstick Fracture, and there's the armor break. The windup. The Shoryuken got the KO. Well done. Down to a 1-man player advantage now for the Black Orcs. So Galeshi had that offensive line pretty far away from the ball, but not against a fast team. Was able to get the ball back up to this line. Now this offensive line really helping to stabilize the center pitch here and give some opportunities to the Orcs. It's going to be up to the Dwarves now to stay in front of this ball and not let it get behind them. They're going to keep that runner available, Isaiah Thomas here on the blitz, but they're going to try to keep him available. I wouldn't be surprised if he stays put here. Yeah, yes indeed. Wants to keep this player available just in case there's a breakout from a goblin. He'll have a player that can match speed. In fact, we'll reposition him back into that safety position. 35 seconds left on the turn. Yeah, man, Space Marine 2. I don't know what platform to get it on. I'll probably get it on something I can play in the living room. I forgot it's out today. One die block in the left wide zone. It's a skull with 4 rerolls. We'll see if he lets us rock or not. Nope, he'll spend the reroll and we'll get the knockdown here. Another armor break. Will it be a removal? It will be a stun. Good stun. And now turn 4 for the Bone Breakers. They have the ball on their own 4-yard line currently. A solid line of orcs just ahead of these goblins. Acute Spinal Baga will move forward and marks Bill Lambier. 2-die block at center pitch will be a pow against the invincible Rick Mayhorn? I don't know who any of these people are. Another armor break. What is happening? Gets a stun out of this. Now the blitz. 2-die blitz on the Troll Slayer. Just gets a push out of this. Still has some movement left with the blitzer. And try to pull in somewhere for an assist. So stay put and exert those tackle zones. Double skulls in the right wide zone. Spends a reroll. And now the Bone Breaker's down to 1 reroll for the half. Didn't want to give up these final activations. Spent the reroll. Got a push. Keeps the drive alive. Now it'll be a 2-die block against Long John the Short. Gets a pow out of this. And a big 10 plus to break armor. No armor break. And now for the goblins. For the goblins, where shall they go? Oh, I'm so stoked for goblin teams. Especially now that we've got the Doom Divers. Man, that's gonna be so cool. It's gonna be so cool. Final turn of the first quarter now. Our grudge is with Nuffle. Has the ball on the opposing 2-yard line. And so far, the Dwarven team doing a pretty good job of just staying in front of this ball. That's what they've got to do. They're not up against the passing team. They're not up against elves. So they just need to stay ahead of that ball. Dennis Rodman's going to reposition over to the right side of the pitch, just ahead of the Troll. And now a blitz on the back left corner of the cage. 2-die rush blitz will be a good knockdown here by James Edwards, but will not be able to get it on the ball without rushing. Oh no, he's got tackle. He's got tackle. That's my tackle song. He's got tackle. Da-da-da-da. Tackle negates dodge. Good knockdown. Now has marked the ball. That'd be cool. If you could kit bash that together, that'd be awesome. Second quarter begins here. The Bone Breakers with the ball on the 2-yard line. They're on the opposing 2-yard line. They're finding themselves marked by a lineman, James Edwards. Level 1 lineman. Marking it on the back left corner of the ball carrier. But now the 2-die blitz to start things off will be a push. If you could find a way to like kit bash that in such a way, like maybe you pick up like a box of goblins, like Blood Bowl goblins, but then you pick up some like Legion. I don't know if there's Ewoks in Legion, but if there are, that'd be awesome. July Black gets Pow and Long John the short. Continuing to push up that right sideline. Spends the reroll. Didn't want to risk the brawler roll. Spends the reroll. Now the Bone Breakers with no rerolls remaining. This is good news for the dwarves. I don't have an Ambulance. Did the Blackworks lose anyone? They've lost one, I believe. Yep, they've lost Greenstick Fracture. One of the Blackworks. To a KO. So not having any rerolls really changes things in this game. We've talked about this time again, but it bears repeating. Rerolls change everything. We are talking about 1d6 normally. Well, I shouldn't say normally. But we're talking 1 to 3 d6s, right? We're not talking about a d100. We're not talking about, you know, thousands of options. We're talking about 6, right? 6 to 36 to times another 6. So this means that odds dramatically change with rerolls. So if you have a 50-50 with the coin toss analogy, if I flip a coin, I need heads, I have, you know, 50% chance of getting the heads that I need. But if I can flip that coin twice, I've changed my odds from 50 to 75%. That is a big, big, big difference. And that's why rerolls are so important in Blood Bowl, because they change things dramatically. And because you can spend more than one team reroll in a turn, they've become even more important in this version of the rules. Turn 5 now for our grudges with Nuffle. Iron Cynic says I need to rewatch Return of the Jedi for the other goblin positionals. Oh, they do exist for Legion. That's awesome. 2-die block. Back behind the line of scrimmage with a knockdown here against Nosebleed. Goblins with an AV of 8+, they're stunty as well. They are, if these dwarves are very resilient, these goblins are very frail, very brittle. Stand-up rush. Even though they're hard to take off the pitch, knockdowns on dwarves can still be very advantageous, because remember, they want to stay grouped up, and when they're knocked down, it costs 3 MA to stand back up. They only have most of them only have an MA of 4, which means they're only going to get 1 effective MA of movement without rushing on the next turn. 2-die rush blitz. Speaking of rushing, they're going to get a pow on the ball carrier. We'll see if Rotgob stays on the pitch. We'll also see where this ball's about to scatter. Scatters laterally to the right. It's now on the opposing 6-yard line. Good blitz by Isaiah Thomas. Failed the Dauntless roll, spends a reroll to get out of that skull, gets a push instead. Our grudges with Nuffle down to 1 reroll for the half. Gets a push on Oblique Fracture number 2, and is going to set up for that serve for the next turn. Turn 6 now, back to the Bone Breakers. El Nebrino asks, think I could get away with small ATSTs as the trolls for the indoor goblins? No, so I played Legion briefly, but I remember the ATSTs were not small. 2-die block, gets a pal on Isaiah Thomas, trying to clear this ball. Look at that showboat. Are you kidding me? Two-die block now by the troll. This will be a knockdown on Long John the short. Oblique fracture number 2 is going to get off that sideline. And now a pal on the invincible number 3 dwarf lineman. 10 plus breaks armor. I mean, I'd be down with it. Yeah, if you play. Speaking of, when did people start calling AT-ATs AT-ATs? No, they're AT-ATs. But yeah, if you can get an AT-ST to look right, I think that'd be cool. I think that'd be sick. Turn 6 for our grudges with Nuffle. Well, the dwarves staying in front of this ball, that's what they need to do. They're a little split apart, but not by much. Our grudges with Nuffle's going to have to start making a move, if not this turn, then definitely the next turn, to try to get in the end zone. What am I remembering? Was it BB 2016? Or was it the early 2020 rules? Or was it something else where you could have giants on the pitch, like 2x2 pieces? Dude, I stand up blitz. Gets a dodge push out of this. Isaiah Thomas is going to stay put on the blitz. Going to try to mark the ball here, I have to imagine. Yes, indeed. Are Giants still in the game? One die block on the big guy, gets a pal. Now one die block back behind the line of scrimmage. Gets a knockdown on Nosebleed. Looking for an 8+ here. Trying to get some advantage going into the next half. Oh, they were in Death Zone? Is that where I read it? I see. I knew I read it somewhere. All right, turn 7 now for the Bone Breakers. And I vaguely... Didn't they have facing or something? Or am I making that up? Bone Breakers have to end this turn in scoring position. It looks like in order to do that, they're probably going to commit to the right sideline. It's going to be a precarious situation to be in. If they're going to do that, they're going to have to mark as many doors as possible and then hope the dice go awry for our grudges with Nuffle. Did I block on Bill Lambier? Gets a pal out of this. Brawler reroll into a both down results. That is it. So I don't... Oh, let's see. Is anybody... No, nobody's in scoring position. So that's going to be it. Good defense by our grudges with Nuffle to stop the score. They've done their job. And now it's all about casualties and setting up for the... getting some SVP and setting up for the next drive. Ah, yeah, this is all coming back to me now. Thank you, Bad Dog. Aggressive with Nuffle, if they come out with a win this evening, they can potentially end up in 3rd place in Division A. In order to do so, they would need to win this game by 2 points. No, they'd need to win by 3 points. Otherwise, they'd end up in 4th place. Nope. They would end up in 4th place if they win by 2 points. "45 seconds left for the Dwarven team. Going in to try to take out a goblin. So good tactic, generally speaking, in this game is when... if you can hunt a frail or important piece, you should do so, right? These goblins are very easy to remove from the pitch. Skinks are the same way on a lizardman team. Skinks on a lizardman team are not only just as frail, but I would argue they're even more important. They are MA7, and they're really the only viable ball carriers on a lizard team. The Sarses, Croc, they're all AG5+, so they're not really ball carriers. So when a skink is sent out there and put out there and exposed, you go after it, you try to remove it. Same for something like a Wood Elf team with the War Dancers. The War Dancers, really tough pieces to deal with. As rookies, they are MA8 blodgers. They're a real pest. If you knock them down, because they're only AV8, you knock them down, and if they're not removed, you almost certainly go in for that foul and try to remove the War Dancer. 1 die block at center pitch gets a push here. Bye, Chicken Chaser with the raid. Thank you so much. Welcome, Raiders. Thanks for hanging out for some Friday Blood Bowl. Thank you very, very much. Final turn for the Bone Breakers coming up. Not going to be able to score here, unfortunately. They fought turn after turn, but ran out of rerolls, failed a die roll, neglected to move the ball forward, and now they're not going to be able to score this half. So coming up in the second drive of this game, they're going to have to find a way to recover the ball and score on defense. Well, we've got an injured dwarf so far. So far, we'll see if we can get closer as the game goes on. Bonebreakers looking to maximize their blocks here. Our grudges with Nuffle will get one final turn, but they will not be able to score either. No action by the Bonebreakers just yet. Really taking the time to make some decisions, try to get some casualty SPP out of this. Going for the ball. What? What? Ah, it's a 5+ pickup after the 3+ dodge. Oh boy. Well, now what? My Chicken Chaser rooting for this offense. I'm gonna root for them now too with that pickup. So on the bonus clock here for the Bonebreakers, Galeshi's gonna have to be a little bit careful here and make sure this time's not going to waste. You only get 7 minutes 30 seconds for the entire ball game. Tizzle Bizzle says, BB's easy, just roll 6s. That's all you gotta do. Quit being a baby and roll 6s. I think the Bonebreakers' real game plan here is probably, yeah, maximize the dice, but save those goblins. Like, make sure that those goblins are not gonna have their necks broken. It's stun, doesn't really get anything out of that. Replays of core. Rooting for this Dwarven defense. Rolling dice gets a push. Still on the bonus clock here. 4 minutes 52 seconds. Feels a really stupid rule with Troll. These goblins have got to get to safety. There's a down goblin at center pitch. That can head for the hills. That will be the turn 8 for our grudges with Nuffle. So there's going to be some blocks taken. Two-die block on transverse fracture. It gets nothing out of this block. So you can see Eric setting up the dice there, trying to get these two-die blocks. Has a block skill on absolutely everyone. Takes the one die on Rotgob, but only gets a push out of this. Rotgob, no! Rotgob! Rotgob, he's a hero. He sidesteps in front of Isaiah Thomas. He says, "Come at me, bro. Let's go. I got this. Let's go." Dude, I have lock on compound fracture. Gets a push out of this. Frenzy follow-up gets the knockdown. Well done. Good use of Frenzy here. Frenzy, you have to follow up. Frenzy means that after the first block you take, whether it's a block or a blitz, if it results in a push, you must follow up and must take a second block. So it's a good way to get a 4-die block off, but also, if you're not careful, a good way to put yourself in a position where you're now taking an uphill block. 2-die on Old Crud, the Osteoarthritic. I would have killed Rotgob for his arrogance, but he did have the assist here. Blitz still on the table. And now our grudges with Nuffle on the bonus clock. Here comes the blitz. 2-die frenzy blitz into a push. Rotgob, assist your teammate, Rotgob! 0-0 is the score. We're going into the third quarter now. The Bonebreakers are going to get back to KO'd Black Orc, as will our grudges with Nuffle. So 11v10 on the pitch, I believe, is what we're going to see here. 5, 9, or 5, 10, 11 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 10. So one-man player advantage for the Bonebreakers. I bet you the rest of the team hates Rotgob. Like when they're in the locker room and Rotgob's like, "I was pretty good out there, wouldn't I?" The rest of the team is like, "Get out of here, Rotgob. Get out of here, Rotgob." Rotgob should have the loner trait because Rotgob plays by his own rules. Three on the line. The linebacker's in tight. And then all the goblins in the secondary packed into the middle there. Our grudges with Nuffle is going to be on offense. They stopped the Black Orc offense successfully in the first half. They're going to be down a player going into the second half. But they will be on offense with a massive 4 rerolls. Picked up the extra team training in the inducement phase. Brought those team rerolls up to 4. Got an extra one by the grace of Nuffle at the beginning of the first half. Got burned through all 5 rerolls. 6 on the line for our grudges with Nuffle. 1 wide to the right. They're going to pull that player off the line, spreading this line wide across the line of scrimmage. Michael Williams in the center position. New MAML presidential candidate. Ratkov 2024. Ratkov's like, yeah, I'll be president or whatever, you know, if I feel like it. Doesn't matter. Naturally, Isaiah Thomas back to receive the kick. No kicker for the Black Orc team. The ball will deviate up to 6 spaces. If you hear me talk about a quote-unquote safe kick, that means you kick it dead center, and that means on the deviation, the ball cannot go off the pitch, but the ball will scatter 1 extra space, so it still could be a touchback if it hits the edges of the pitch, the sidelines or the end zone. Middling kick here, and after the timeout, we're going to lose a turn, so we're going to start this half on turn 10 for our grudges with Nuffle. 2 kickers. Wait, do they think they're playing? Do they think they're playing like normal football, like soccer? Do they not realize the type of football they're playing? They're like, yeah, coach, I spent all week training to kick the ball. Picks up the ball to start the turn here. 3+ pickup by Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas is going to advance into the right wide zone on the Dwarven 6-yard line. They don't think. .40 seconds left on the clock for our grudges with Nuffle. We'll try to come out of this game a winner and stall this out for 7 turns. The Dwarves only have 4 rerolls. How will they cope? However will they cope? 2 marks and Spiral Fracture the second. So Eric trying to carve out and control a little bit of the pitch here. You can see the line of tackle zones that's just changed. But you can see where the tackle zones lie here. Frenzy Rush. Got that second assist to make sure that this second block, Frenzy Rush, Frenzy Blitz, the second block is not going to be uphill, but failed the Dauntless test. Had to spend the reroll anyway. And got a push out of it. Maybe not so dauntless, maybe daunted. Turn 10 now for the Bone Breakers. 2-dive block on that Troll Slayer. He's going to get knocked down for his audacity. No armor break. Old Snake Eyes on the armor roll. Iron Cynic says, I guess that's why you have 4 rerolls. Fair enough. That was not a dodge there. That's a bug of some sort. But a 2-die blitz on Dennis Rodman. We'll get a knockdown out of this. Stays put, inserting the tackle zones, keeping the Black Orc player free. Shutting off the sideline with Old Crud, the osteoarthritic. Wow, those goblins are going right in there. So if he's looking for a foul, Nosebleed will not lend an assist. It will only be 2. 2-die block on the center gets a knockdown on Michael Williams. Placing the defensive line forward, keeping these dwarves marked. 15 seconds left on the clock for the Bone Breakers. Foul on Dennis Rodman. 7+ to break armor. No armor break. So I had 1 assist here, 1 assist here, but this goblin here could not assist because he is marked by James Edwards. Turn 11 now for our grudges with Nuffle. Did the Gobs not get the memo? This is a deadly week. It is. It sure is. 2-die block on Nosebleed. Gets knocked down. No armor break. Eric considering options here. Dwarven offenses are generally pretty straightforward. They cage up and they move down the pitch. They are very slow, even though the runners are an MA6. Because they really want to cage up, they want to stay grouped together, so they tend to cage up. And because they're caged up, not everybody on this team is MA6. That cage is almost inevitably going to have a lineman on the cage who's an MA4, which means these dwarves at most are moving 4 spaces without rushing on a turn. And that means they generally want to keep the ball moving each turn, even if it's only 1 space. Because come turn 15, they have to be in scoring position. And if that ball happens to be in the hands of a lineman, you've only got a maximum of 6 spaces to go. Runners have an MA of 6, so with 2 rushes, they can move up to 8 spaces. There are 13 spaces from the line of scrimmage to the end zone. Two seconds left on the clock before our grudge is with Nuffle. Dips back onto the bonus clock. 5 minutes, 6 seconds remaining. A 1-die block back at the line of scrimmage gets a POW on Compound Fracture. Not as risky as it might seem. The blocking player had the block skill, whereas the blocked player did not. One die blitz into a skull. Is he going to let this rock or not? He's not. He's going to re-roll it into a push. Stays put. Shores up. Oh, I didn't realize it was the ball carrier. Of course he's not going to let that rock. So breaks away with the ball carrier. 2 rushes to get on the left side of the pitch. All of the Black Orcs find themselves marked currently. Daryl Dawkins on the left side of the line can get blocked away to free up one of the Black Orcs. And there's the block, but that is not going to do it. Got the POW on the reroll. Did not want to play any games on that reroll. Spent the team reroll because he wanted to reroll the entire die pool and increase his odds of making sure this drive stayed alive rather than using Brawler, rerolling the 1 die and perhaps causing a turnover. Now the blitz on the ball carrier. 2-die blitz gets a push. Will he reroll this as well? Ooh, he will. He's going to reroll it into the POW. Got the POW on Isaiah Thomas. And that ball's going to scatter to the 12, 6, 8, 10, 12, to the 12-yard line. Right in the middle of the pitch. 2 rerolls spent on that play, but the ball is now free, and the Bone Breakers need to find a way to get some players on the ball. There's one player. The Goblin will come back for sure. Two-die block on Dennis Rodman gets the knockdown. Very surprised that Old Crud did not move back first. That would have been a safer move, seeing as Old Crud has no die rolls to make. Going for the ball pickup straight up. Fails the pickup. Ooh. That might even be better. I don't. All right, man. Failed the ball pickup, but no problem because Spiral Fracture number 2 is there to save the day. He says, "Don't worry, little guy. I got this. I've got this." Nice handoff. We've been friends ever since I was a little spore. Ever since then, we've only ever dreamed of being professional Blood Bowl players. Our patented play is called the Greasy Hands Catch. I've been practicing for this my whole life. Dude, I've gets knocked out here. So wasn't able to reposition these other goblins back to try to protect the ball. I would have liked to see some more players get on the ball, especially after freeing up all these players before the pickup attempt. But now Galeshi with the ball in the hands of that rookie Black Orc. Spiral Fracture number 2. A Strength 4 player. Remember, they have Brawler as well, so they have a little bit of a free reroll opportunity as well. Here's the 1-die block on the ball carrier. That's the knockdown. We'll see where this ball bounces. Oh, wow, it's going to be an armor break, too. Big armor break by the Dwarven team. And the ball is going to bounce to the 8 now. On our Grudges with Nuffle's 8-yard line. Big stun. Isaiah Thomas going to fail the dodge. Spends the reroll. Our Grudges with Nuffle down to 1 reroll. Good pickup with Sure Hands. Sure Hands lets you reroll a catch for free. And now recovered the ball after Isaiah Thomas broke free in the previous turn. Turn 12 now for the Bone Breakers. Just like that, we are in the final turn of the 3rd quarter. We'll almost certainly see a blitz on Isaiah Thomas. The question is, how's it going to go? So I think maybe the blitz comes in this way because the box is set up. So Isaiah Thomas can come out here and other players can be positioned this way to perhaps pick up the ball. Nope, we're just going to go straight for the blitz. Fair enough. 2-die blitz gets the knockdown on Isaiah Thomas. But, yeah, that's the problem. Unfortunately, the ball has bounced into the hands of Vinnie Johnson. And big time catch there. That was only a 6 to catch, and Vinny, these guys are showing. You know what they say? You know what? We never get enough credit for playing the ball. Everybody thinks we're just a bunch of meatheads out here, dwarves and black orcs, and all we do is bash and enforce. Well, let me tell you something. I can handle a ball too. We're all professional players. Let me show you how Blood Bowl is played. The ball chooses its own master. Good 3+ dodge by Rotgob. Turn 13 now for our grudge is with Nuffle. Fourth and final quarter now. Our grudge is with Nuffle. Has the ball on the opposing 6-yard line. Briefly lost the ball, recovered it in the very next turn. Eric really considering the turn here and where he wants this runner to end up. Probably wants to get a little bit of yardage, but definitely needs to get some protection on the ball carrier. Could very well retreat if it means being able to cage up successfully. The problem with cage in this position, right, is that you've got opposing players here and here. If your cage ends up here, you can find yourself getting sandwiched between the two opposing sides of a higher strength team. It can be very difficult to break through that. Might try to swing this ball out to the left. Again. One die block on Green Stick Fracture gets a push out of this. Doesn't free up Dennis Rodman. Only one action. Now 5 seconds left in the turn. And now our grudges with Nuffle back on the bonus clock with 3 minutes, 35 seconds to go. Wow, Eric really contemplating this turn. Gotta go ahead and take the 2-die uphill block, and this will work out. I'll get a push out of this. So John Sally the Ancient will get a push, keep it alive. No, 1-die a 1-die block on that Goblin Bruiser only gets a push out of this with the ball carrier. Ball carrier will stay put here for sure. 2 minutes, 23 seconds left on the clock. Another failed Dauntless roll by Bill Lambier. And that's going to have to be an uphill block that will be a turnover. Unfortunate block on the right side of this pocket. Oh, armor break too. Great stun for the Bone Breakers going into turn 13. Now they've got a clear shot at the ball. Two-die block on the ball carrier is a POW. Transverse Fracture wants to get in on this ball game. Fails the catch. And the ball's going to end up in the 6. One space to the left of where it was. And now a 1-die block on John Sally to try to clear this ball. So he's going to grab onto the ball and hopes for a favorable scatter out of this. And the ball scatters one space forward. So I would say that is favorable. Well done by Galeshi. Oh man, something bit me. I always get weirded out by that. Because like When was there something in the house, and when did it bite me? 3+ pickup here. Works out. Good pickup. And now Old Crud, the osteoarthritic, recovers the ball. The defense with the ball once more on their own 4-yard line. Cobblestone BB rooting for this defensive team. Oh, Gamer Mike says spiders. Don't say that. Even if it's true, I don't want to know that. I don't want to know that at all. GG Larry, welcome to the stream. Blackworks is so hard for rookie dwarves. High strength team, or yes, high strength team. That is what I intended to say. I was like, no, that's not right. No, that is right. Oh, again, acute spinal boneheaded in this ball game. Get in the game, troll. Bonebreaker's back on the bonus clock. Good 3+ dodge by the Goblin. Those positive dodges are 3+, plus they have the dodge skill for the free reroll. Well, unless they're being marked by a tackle player. So now the Dwarves in a little bit of a position here. They're finding themselves split apart. It's a low TV Dwarven team, so they don't have any guard either. And just 1 reroll remaining for Eric. And 3 turns remaining, which means not only do they have to get at the ball, but it's they gotta move. Like, they've got to start getting toward the end zone. So it's getting more and more difficult for this Dwarven team to try to get on the board and win this game. Two dwarfs have souls. Takes a mark on Compound Fracture, the number 2 Black Orc on the line of scrimmage. One die block. Gets the knockdown thanks to the block skill. Good knockdown here by our grudges with Nuffle. Two die blitz on Nosebleed on the right. In the right wide zone. Gets a push out of this. Just trying to get the assist off of Green Stick Fracture, so Green Stick Fracture can take the 2 die block. Nope, because our grudges with Nuffle is the Dwarven team. Oh, boy. Oh, 1 die blitz. Gets a skull out of this. We'll spend the final reroll into double skulls. Bad turn for the Dwarves. Turn 11 for the Bonebreakers. That ball's going to take off. Spent the final reroll into a second skull. That's a turnover. And now the Dwarven team almost certainly playing for the draw at this point. I was going to play some Secret of Mana after this, but I think I got to play Space Marine 2. Two die block on Michael Williams. Gets the knockdown here. Knocking down these dwarves, very, very important. Because remember, MA4 means they're only going to move 1 MA without rushing. And the dwarves have no rerolls remaining. So there's Old Crud, the osteoarthritic. Takes a mark on Daryl Dawkins. The blitz almost certainly going to be on Daryl Dawkins. Yeah, almost certainly going to be on Daryl Dawkins here, and there it is. Gets a push out of this. Might re-roll it. No, he's going to take the push. Is that far enough away? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. It is not. But still, no re-rolls. Oh, repositions the Goblin instead. But I think this is going to have to be a rush in order. No! Just stays put with the blitzer. Did I block on John Sally? Gets a knockdown here. And then a 2-die on Long John. The short over in no man's land. This will be a push. Gets a push out of this. Was looking for the pal. With the brawler reroll, we'll get a push out of this instead. Took the 1-die with nosebleed. I thought he might dodge him out, but no, he takes the 1-die, gets the knockdown. Wow. And breaks armor! Oh, nosebleed, if you don't get MVP. Penultimate turn for our grudge is with Nuffle. They almost certainly can't score at this point. It would have to be a prayer to Nuffle to make it happen. No, he can't at all. He can't at all. Has Long John the Short in position just in case. Cobblestorm BB's demanding death. Bad Dog's praying to Nuffle. He can. He absolutely can, but he's going to have to take a dodge first. Well, he did. There's the dodge. There's the rush. 2-die blitz. Got the pal. What a play. And broke armor. That is a huge armor break. I think that's it, in fact. Wow, what a blitz by our grudges with Nuffle. 4+ dodge to a rush 2-die blitz. No rerolls. Got the pal and the armor break. The pal was enough. So now it's going to come down to one of these two guys. It looks like. I don't see where the... Yeah, there's the other one. He's way out over on the right wide zone. It's going to come down to one of these two guys. Bruisem Rangy or Rot God the Toothache. 3-die block on Michael Williams gets the pal here. This frees up both of those gobos. One reroll remaining. He's got to save that reroll for the ball pickup. One probably shoots down. Oh boy, I don't know how you keep them safe. Maybe you mark one door and the troll. Oh, but the troll's really stupid. Oh. Oh, what just what? Gotta push. This is a great push. Spent the team reroll. Got through the loner reroll. And now the troll stays alive. Had to do that, I think. Absolutely had to do that. Has to get both of these dwarves out of this play. That's Daryl Dawkins done. Now another player needs to get in on James Edwards. But the reroll no longer available for this 3+ pickup. Going for the 3+ pickup straight up. One rush. All right. Rotgob needs to mark James Edwards. And he did exactly that. Oh, boy. Nuffle provides. Really stupid on the troll. Couldn't afford. And an injury to boot. That's 2 SPP. Wow. Spent the reroll. Got through the loner roll. Had to do it. Oh, no. Not another armor break. Gets a stun out of it. Finally fails a die roll here. So he's gonna leave. He's gonna leave this unmarked nosebleed over in the right wide zone, staying put. Two-die blitz on the rush, gets a push on Rotgob, trying to free up James Edwards to take the mark. Yeah, but Rotgob says, no thank you, I'm a sidestepping machine. Four plus dodge by James Edwards. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boy, he can't really get where he really wants to be. He's gonna have to take a mark from the rear. It all comes down to a 3+ die roll by Bruisem Rangy. If they can get this dodge, they do not get the reroll because they are marked by a tackle player. If they can, there it is, he got the 3+! The Bone Breakers win the game! Holy smokes! Very well done. What a fun game that was. Congratulations to Galeshi and the Bone Breakers for their victory in the final turn of this game. Holy moly, that was awesome. Rotgob is the hero we need. So the Bone Breakers win this one. They're going to pick up their first win in this competition. Congratulations once again to Galeshi. Our Grudges with Nuffle is going to remain in 5th place. And just 2 more weeks left in the competition for both these teams. So, boy, it's competition's heating up. This is going to be real fun. Let's take a look at the schedule before we leave. Before we go play Space Marine 2. Coming up next, we have a game scheduled for this Monday, September 9th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That's UTC -4. That's going to be League Champion Doug the Minotaur and the White Skull Windbreakers against A Kind Sir and the Kind Peacocks. Orcs versus Imperial Nobility. That will be that game. There are 3 games left to be scheduled. Those games might take place sooner. They might take place later. But when those games get scheduled, you'll be able to check out and get alerted to those schedules on our website at maml.club. That's maml.clb, here on Twitch, or on our social media pages on Blue Sky, Twitter, and Facebook. You can also watch previous games on our YouTube channel. Play Blood Bowl, man. This game is so much fun. This game, that was an absolute blast. This game is great. You should play it too. You can play Blood Bowl via Blood Bowl 3 on Steam, the Epic Game Store, PlayStation, and Xbox, and in tabletop form at your friendly local game store. Until Monday, September 9th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Friday evening, and go play Space Marine 2. We'll see you then.